Dirt roads to rock crawling, two-buck chuck to screaming eagle, moonshine to 50-year-old single malt. We talk about it all here on Wheelin' Wine and Whiskey with your hosts, Jason and Chris.
Welcome to the Wheeling Wine and Whiskey Podcast, episode 276. How you doing?
I'm good.
Mr. Chris.
How are you?
Mr. Chris. You know how the Asians do that? They call you Mr. Chris. Even
Chris.
the Hispanics do that too, right? Mr. Chris.
They all call me Padron.
Padron? Not
or
Patron?
Or Jefe.
Oh, Jefe. They don't call you boss? Remember that? You remember what boss stands for?
No.
You don't remember that episode? We talked about that whole thing, what boss stands for?
I don't remember. My memory sucks.
Oh, great.
It's not my locker.
This isn't my locker. What does it stand for?
Yeah, see, shit, you don't even remember.
I don't remember now. I'm trying to remember.
Well, here's a quiz for our listeners. If you remember, right in DM Jason.
You gonna give something away?
No, I don't know. No, yeah, you just had to say that. Now we got to do it.
No, I just there is here it is. Oh no. Remember, it was like a jail term, right?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I'm coming.
You don't remember any of that?
No. Wild opening to the show, but yeah.
There you go. It's coming to a crashing halt.
And we're out. No. Anyway, yeah. Mr. Chris, Mr. Jason. Jason's up in Minden, of course, and
Mr.
I'm down
Jason's
here in my
Minden.
home studio in Livermore, and we're just making this shit happen on a weekly basis for you, the listeners. So
Right.
yeah, what do we got? We got quite a few things to cover this episode. We've got voicemails, we've got some reviews, and I want to kind of circle back a little bit and remind everybody about irate 4x4.
Yes.
What a great platform that is. I mean, it's the reintroduction of the old pirate 4x4. It's just irate 4x4 now. Our good friend Austin revitalized, refreshed, and made it live again, which is super cool. And if you're not familiar with it, it's a great, basically a chat board, right?
Yeah.
Forums for people to share ideas and get help with their builds, and of course to talk smack sometimes too, which I guess happens pretty frequently.
Not as bad as it used to be on Pirate.
Yeah.
This is more useful.
Yep. So irate4x4.com. You can go to one of our favorite sections, of course, where we're going to toot our own horn. You go to watch, listen, and discuss, and you scroll down and you'll see Wheeling Wine and Whiskey podcast there. You can click on that link and you'll see all of our past episodes and, of course, chats and discussions on some of those episodes that some of our listeners and viewers, if you view, we don't have any video, but can participate in there. And if you look on the right side of the screen under our big logo there, you'll see where you can support the podcast. You can click on a link to purchase, become part of the Barrel Society, where our first tier is Wheeling 101, which is $5 a month. You got Barrel Select, which is $10 a month. And of course, the Old Elk Club at $20 a month. You have the choice of subscribing monthly or paying annually. And it's not required, but certainly appreciated.
So speaking of irate, I actually referred my friend to it. We were talking up at Meadow Lake, and Toby. Remember Toby? Toby. We used to always mention Toby. What's his name?
Utah?
Toby from Utah. Exactly right.
So he was up at Meadow, huh?
Yeah, no, he wasn't. But I said, speaking of irate, Toby wrote a blog on there back in 2020, and it was about electric brakes. So instead of a vacuum booster or a hydro boost brake system, using an modern day electric brake controller that they use in these electric cars or hybrids. So he used like a 2014 Honda Accord brake actuator, and it's electrically powered with a motor, and it's super compact, super cool setup. And I was intrigued by it when I saw it at King of the Hammers this past year, and he goes, yeah, I wrote a whole blog about it. So I go, oh, I got to look that up. So we took a deep dive. I totally want to do this on my buggy. It is a no-brainer for 12 volt. It's a 12 volt hydro boot or 12 volt booster, brake booster. Doesn't use hydraulic. It's purely electric, and it's pretty simple the way it works. And he even has tagged on there YouTube videos of a guy that does a deep dive in it and talks about how they work. And they're super simple. I mean, you have
still
a power
hydraulic to the calipers, right?
Well, you still have hydraulic to the calipers, yes, but this is giving you brake boost, so it's multiplying 500 plus pounds extra of force going to the brakes. And when you have 43-inch stickies and you're sitting on a freaking
cliff,
48-degree slope, brakes are come in handy then. But anyways, you mentioned that, and I started taking the deep dive on that one, and then of course that led to other rabbit holes, and there's just a lot of good info on there. So nice job, Austin. I owe you a phone call. I haven't talked to you in a while, and we need to catch up. So thanks for keeping the site alive and supporting our podcast and other podcasts out there as well.
No names, right? No names.
I don't know. We weren't supposed to mention. I guess Jimmy said that we mentioned them, and we're not supposed to mention them anymore. So Jimmy listens to our podcast, but Tyler does not. Tyler doesn't have time. He's busy changing diapers.
Well, he's a daddy now. So
yep. But I do have an apology to make to Wreck-It Rob. You remember the last podcast we talked about and we got the voicemail?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, DM me or something if it's time sensitive. And he did DM me, and I look back and he did DM. So I apologize. And he lives up in Upper Lake near Mr. Poole, Kevin Poole. Mm-hmm. And then he said, and he's right, Dodges suck. So I like Rob more and more every day.
Wow.
There. So I don't know what your thoughts are on him, but
I don't care for him.
Good, solid guy.
What does he drive, a Chevy or a Ford?
I'm not sure.
Because they both suck.
Yeah. And he's heading up to Virginia City next weekend. So I gave him some advice of where to go in Virginia City. So anyways, shout out to Rob. Thank you for listening. Sorry I didn't get the DM. I have been off the grid quite a bit here this last 45 days, which has been great. All right. What do you got?
Yeah. Anyway, I know that there's been we've been talked on and off about my storage situation for my camper.
Oh, yeah.
I think I finally made inroads into finding a place to store it for the rest of the year, hopefully permanently. I met with a gentleman today, and it looks like I'm going to have a place to park my camper and trailer for a reasonable fee.
And close to your house?
Pretty close, yeah. Just a couple miles away. I think 3 miles as the crow flies.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm super happy about that. I didn't unload the camper today. He's got a little bit of work to do to prepare the spot that we selected for it and the trailer. So as soon as that's done, I'll drop everything off and I'll be able to get my truck worked on prior to King of the Hammers. I want to get I think the tie rod ends are wearing out on that thing. So
yeah, I replaced mine already.
Almost 80,000 miles.
80,000? Oh, I've got like 128,000 on mine.
Yeah, well,
I do a lot of road trips.
Yours is also a daily driver. Mine's not. So,
well, somewhat. So, parking's good in winter. It's gravel, so you don't have to worry about. Because I know, like the last spot you were in a field, and it was tough to get like your trailer and stuff.
Yeah, no, this is level. It's higher up. It's pretty close to his house. So obviously, he doesn't want his house to flood. But there's a lot of crushed rock, that base rock, recycled base rock stuff.
Perfect.
He has I don't know. That's one of the things he needs to do. There's probably 500 or 600 yards of base rock that he's brought in that he needs to spread around his property. So that's
wow.
Yeah, there's mounds. I didn't take a picture, but there's mounds everywhere of this stuff from dump trucks dropping it off. So
that's good.
He's got a little bit of work to do all the spreading and make the place ready. But he's 81 acres up there. And,
81. Nice. That's a lot of work.
Well, it is. And he's got, it's old family, generational property. I guess their original OG, like Livermorians and
Livermorians, not Livermorons.
It is Livermorons, but I was trying to be nice.
Oh, okay.
But, I guess the parcel that he has now is 81 acres, but it used to be, several more, multiple hundreds of more. acreage, and through family divisions and sales and so forth and so on, it's been whittled down to 81 acres right now. So, which is still a significant chunk of property to deal with, but most of it's looks like it's used for grazing for cattle.
Oh, okay. So it's a cattle ranch.
No, well, I think they just lease that section of land out. It's not so they don't actually do the ranching. They just lease the property out to somebody else. So anyway, that's good news for me. I'm super happy, and the price is right. So,
God, that's great.
There's been a little bit of a level of anxiety trying to figure that out because the truck needs to be unloaded. Camper's been on there since June, solid.
Right.
Not that it's good to have it. I got a couple of projects done on it. Been doing some maintenance and so forth, keeping it clean and serviced, which is easy to do when it's in the driveway. But obviously,
well, that is, and it is. Even though you're only 3 miles away, I know it's a hassle not having your camper at your house at times. But storage that's the toughest thing with RVs and stuff, and just if you don't have the space to park it at your property, it can get expensive. I know people that spend several $100s a month to store their trailer and camper.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some of these, the storage lots in town. I mean, one place I looked at wanted just for my camper. They didn't have space for my trailer. They wanted $100 a month if I paid quarterly, and $120 to $125 a month if I paid monthly. So, I mean, obviously a better deal to pay quarterly. But as like, do you have space for my trailer? And what would the price be? And it's like, well, that would be a lot. That'd be double.
Right.
I'm not going to pay for 2 spots. So
yeah, that's it.
So anyway, that's why I've always liked to try to negotiate with private landowners on the north side of town because everybody wants to make a little bit of a buck, and as soon as if you can make it fair for everybody,
sure.
Then I mean, if the guy's not willing to negotiate, you just walk away.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's good news there. I'm super happy about that. And then on to other things. We have like I mentioned, I think off the air, Spotify has become one of our great avenues for people to review the show. And I have a new review. I had the app up. Now it's disappeared. We have actually 2 new reviews on Spotify that I'd like to read to our listeners.
Yeah, do it.
All right. One of them is a review for episode 270. That's the episode with Texans on the Rubicon. When you met up with that group of people from Texas. Yeah. It's from a listener named Keith Schultz. And it says, he basically says, great to find you guys on Spotify. I have missed a lot since the other platform shut down. Not quite sure what platform that is, but
probably talking about Trail Chasers.
Yeah.
Or Snail Trail. I think they shut down.
Oh, did they? Wow.
Yeah.
So listening from Roanoke, Virginia,
They ran out of Torques. Sorry.
I listen for wheeling and whiskey. Need more whiskey talk, Keith. So you're absolutely right, Keith. Some of our most popular episodes have been about the whiskey, the tastings, the blind tastings.
Right.
And of course, the trips that Jason and I have taken to different distilleries, especially that Tennessee episode when Jason and Samurai James and Lady Samurai journeyed out to Tennessee and met up with Ian Johnson. That was a super popular episode, of course, also. So, we discuss it. We have plans to bring more whiskey and bourbon talk on the show because it is popular.
Right on.
So that's Texans on the Rubicon, episode 270. And then we have another one from a gentleman named Reed Devlantis. Episode, he's talking about episode 274, that's the Red Wet Willie Fab episode.
Okay.
With Danny. And so he goes on to say, yeah, I own a Cherokee and I wouldn't do frame stiffeners either, even if you paid me, LOL. So right on. There you go. So those two.
That's funny.
So anyway, if you want to leave a review, you can do it both on Apple Podcasts, and you can also do it on Spotify, and we catch both and we read both on the air.
Yeah, and that's the best way to help us out if you don't want to open up your pocketbook, is just write a review, and obviously 5 stars, because why are you going to take the time to write a 4-star or 3-star review unless you're reviewing the Snail Trail podcast? Then go ahead. I get that. But no, it's all good. 5 stars definitely helps us out in this 5-year venture that we're into now.
I know, right?
And we do send out stickers, so we don't give away winches or anything like that, or these, gear wrench swag packs, but we do have, stickers that I got to tell you, Chris, it has been so much fun the last few weeks that I've been out wheeling on Fordyce.
Oh yeah.
Rubicon, a few other places. And I see our stickers in all kinds of, on different rigs, all over different rigs. And I'm just like, this is super cool. You remember when we first saw our stickers on a rig and it was like, oh man, but now I'm seeing a lot, and that's cool.
Word's gotten around and people are representing.
Well, and they're happy to get it. And dude, quick story. I think I don't know if I mentioned it last podcast, but I gave some stickers out to the sheriffs that were walking the trail on Rubicon.
Mm-hmm, I think you mentioned that.
Yeah, whiskey drinkers and stuff. So yeah, I was like, right on. This is cool. So yeah, get them stickers, and we're going to have to order more, Chris, because we're getting low. I think after Trail Hero, I'll be out.
I have some that I could probably mail to you if you need them. But
okay, well, let me see. I'll do a count here. But all right. You got another one? That's what you got.
That's it. That's all I've got for reviews. You said you had some voicemails.
I got a couple voicemails here, and this one ought to be a good one. I recognize this number.
Uh-oh.
You ready?
Yeah, I don't know. Am I?
Okay, here we go.
Hey, boys. Tom Rosa here.
Oh,
hope
good
you're
old
all
Tommy.
doing well. I got a question for you to ponder. I bought a shit box.
Yes.
May or may not have seen.
Yes.
2001 XJ with some goodies on it. It's somebody puts a lot of work into it. And I was tired of the outdoor life with the CJ5 with some of these inclement weather wheeling trips.
Sure.
And I'm trying to figure out which one I should bring to the Hammers.
Oh.
I'm going to bring the CJ to Trail Hero. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's a given.
But the Hammers can get a little spicy. The weather can be a little uncooperative. I'm liking the idea of air conditioning and heating and windows and
sounds like
a little climate control. So that's and it's fun. It actually goes faster on the flats than the CJ, as you can imagine. The longer wheelbase with a coil sprung suspension and the long arms and do what.
I've got a real
so I'm trying
simple answer to this.
The CJ's fun. The CJ's a beast. It's a beater. It loves to party in the rocks.
It does.
But the XJ, am I getting old? Am I liking that? I don't know.
Yes,
what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Which one should I bring? The XJ or the CJ? And looking forward to hearing you guys. Talk to y'all later, and Toyota suck.
Even this is coming from a guy that's got Toyota axles underneath his.
I know, right?
I freaking love it.
I'm going to put in my vote for you to bring the XJ shit box.
Okay, and why? Because I got this similar answer. Go ahead.
Well, I agree with him that the weather can be a little freaky out there, and especially if he decides to go play it, not play, but maybe observe the jackassery that occurs out at either Chocolate Thunder or Backdoor. I mean, it'd be kind of nice because you never know what you're going to get when you're out. First of all, it's cold at night, and it could be cold and windy and dusty. And when you finish up watching the shenanigans, it'd be kind of nice to be able to drive back to camp in relative comfort in an enclosed vehicle.
Yes. Yeah, no, I that's exactly what I'm thinking. So I have a question for him. Is his wife going to Hammers? Because if his wife is going, then he definitely should bring the XJ. But I would lean towards the XJ if his wife even isn't going, because what you just said. The 5 does well, and I love watching the 5. I love watching him wheel the 5.
He's got the Larry and Ticer attitude. Of course,
yes,
I'm just going to send it.
I'm just going to send it, and he's not afraid to send it. But that's why I went and bought a buggy, because the 5 is not the right rig for Hammers if you want to go do some crazy hammer trails. He can go
crazy trails there. I don't recall.
Yeah, you remember? How about Medusa? Does that bring back any bad memories? Or is your therapist wipe that name from your vocabulary? Yeah, you're getting so yeah, you can still do a lot of cool trails. He could do Turkey Claw and stuff, and we could go have some fun. And there's always right seats available if you want to get crazy and go out and ride with somebody. So I would definitely bring the XJ. I'd love to hear what our listeners think. Call in. What's that phone number, Chris?
Oh, it's simple. It's 408-800-5169. Again, that's 408-800-5169. 5169.
Call in. We got lots of time before KOH to see whether Tom should bring his CJ or is it an XJ or a ZJ?
Yeah, it's an XJ, I believe.
It's an XJ. So yeah, the Chicory, the soulless Chicory. So, okay. So Chris and I are unanimous here. We think you should bring the soulless XJ.
The soulless XJ. That's right. Yeah. And I'd like to ride.
And you got the Lance life now. You're just totally easing into the next thing I'm going to see you sipping some whiskey and smoking a cigar behind your Lance. It's going to be that's the next step in your career.
That's right.
In your four-wheeling career. No, bring the XJ, a lot more comfortable. And they also, hey, we could ride with Tom too if we're going to go over to Chocolate Thunder at night or something. So there you go. That's right,
Chocolate Thunder. Have they shown the schedule yet for King of the Hammers? They're not doing the shootout anymore. That's a
I haven't seen anything yet. No, I'm concentrating on Trail Hero now. It's one event at a time, Chris. I can't look too far in advance here.
Well, I'm not doing Trail Hero, so I'm thinking about KOH right now.
Well, there
I've already got my menu
KOH.
planned and everything.
There you go. Good.
All right. So you had one more.
I got one more here. You ready?
All right. Yeah, let's hear it.
Hey, morning, fellas. Hey, so crush season's upon us. I was just thinking about it. I haven't heard much about wine lately. I mean, whiskey, wheeling, not much wine. It's crush season. I'm traveling between wineries right now, and we're just starting to bring in about 23 tons of Pinot. And I don't know what the other winery's bringing in until I get there, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear a little bit about wine. Maybe pick up on that a little bit. It is wheeling wine and whiskey, but hasn't been much wine talk. All right, fellas, have a good one.
Okay, so I think that was Kevin Poole.
Probably,
that's got to be Kevin Poole.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the number looks like Kevin Poole. Yeah, we do need to talk more about wine. And I've actually have a vintner that I want to talk to that is super knowledgeable and a good friend. And I think that would be a really good podcast.
Oh, hell yeah.
So get Matt on here from Fernwood. So let's add that to our list of people that we were talking about here, but pre-show, as we say, of who we want to interview next. So, no, you're right, Kevin. And it's a little early. So Pinot does come in first.
That's right.
I am not the biggest Pinot fan. It's probably one of my least favorite red wine grapes. I've had some good ones, and the one that I really liked that was super earthy and good was up there in the Santa Cruz Mountains, the first wine club I ever joined. You know which one I'm talking about? Because I'm drawing a blank right now. Byington.
Oh, yeah.
So they sold, unfortunately. I think the old man passed away, and the kids really didn't want much to do with it, and it changed. It was such a cool place, and hidden, tucked away in the Santa Cruz Mountains there. And their wines, all their wines were great, and they had the best Cab Franc. That's what really turned me on to Cab Franc, because they were getting grapes from Bates Ranch, which is right near Matt's ranch in Santa Cruz Mountains. And I got to visit the actual Bates Ranch vineyard and taste Cab Franc grapes from the vine. Still, I think they're some of the best around that I've ever tasted. Maybe second to DeRose, because DeRose does some phenomenal Cab Franc, right?
Oh yeah.
And they're great. That would be a good story too, to get DeRose on. He's got some stories, man. He's got that handlebar mustache. He could talk an hour just about the mustache. So maybe we should get him on.
Hell yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
He's a car guy too.
Yeah. He is a car guy. You're right. He has quite the car collection up there at Hollister. So, no, Matt. I'm sorry, Kevin. We'll get this thing going here. We're getting towards the end of wheeling season, which I'm okay with because that means ski season's right around the corner. So that will give us some time in the winter. Days are shorter, and we can get some of these guys online.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I look forward to it. It's always fun to talk to people outside our normal range of conversations, and there's always great stories.
The normal range of our conversation.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, we talk a lot of wheeling and shenanigans and whatnot. So, but
shenanigans.
One of my favorite Pinot. I'm not a huge Pinot guy either, but I tasted at a place called Hansel Vineyards in Sonoma County.
Oh, okay.
Years ago, we actually had my buddy Jay, who's a sommelier from Southern California, and he calls every once in a while and has these private tastings and tours of certain different wineries, and I'm always like, shit, yeah, I'm in. Let's go. And Hansel was up that weekend, and we made the road trip up to the winery, and we met with the winemaker, and we did a long duration tasting of their Pinot Noir, and man, it was so good. That bottle's still laying down in my cellar. It probably should be drank pretty soon, but it's probably at or getting close to its expiration date.
There you go. So I did find. You remember a few podcasts back at the beginning of August when we talked about Sierra Trek and they had the whiskey tasting?
Mm-hmm.
I found the card that they gave everybody, the rating card. And you remember I said I was just taking notes on it because I thought it was kind of a cheese stick card.
Okay, yeah.
So here it is. So let's get your opinion. So it says see, swirl, sniff, sip. Rate each whiskey, and number 1 is terrible. 2 is poor, 3 is average, 4 is good, 5 is give me the bottle. Okay, not bad.
Wow,
but here's your criteria that you're rating 1 through 5. 1 being terrible, 5 being the best.
Okay.
Appearance. What does appearance have anything to fucking do about whiskey? Absolutely nothing.
Some people are enamored with the color.
It's brown. It's brown liquor. It's brown liquor. End of the story. We're done. Moving on. Aroma. Okay, so aroma. Okay, what are you getting out of it? And that's what we talk about a lot on the podcast. And
the nose.
The nose. What are you getting on the nose? What are you getting on the palate? Those are two different things. Correct. Now, as we've said, like 90% of your taste is through your nose. But okay, aroma, I'll give you that. And then taste.
Well, of course.
Okay, taste. Okay, taste terrible. Give me a bottle. Okay, I get that. And then the finish. So most of the times, the finish for the average whiskey drinker, I will say, is whether it's hot or not, right? Like, does it burn going down or does it not? That's the finish that a lot of people get. Now, with a little more sophisticated palate, as we've discussed, you get the whiskey can change as it hits the different parts of your palate. Mm-hmm. And, you can get like a really good, like some of those whiskeys are like oily finish, and not oily in like a gear oil bad way, but oily and really like
kind of like a stick to the ribs.
It stays that flavor will linger, that caramel or toffee or whatever you're getting. The nutmeg will linger for a long time, and those are fun. Okay. And then that's your total score. So then you would total up, and that's how they rated Jack Daniel's Rye number 1. Okay,
so because they wanted that, then the finish, right? Everybody, because that was the hottest one, right?
It's hot. It was gasoline, man. It was burning hot. It was.
I mean, I think the proof on that was like
Jack Daniels fan.
Was it 130 something or something?
Yeah, it was 1 million, something like that. And I'm a huge Jack Daniels fan, and I actually do like Jack Daniels Rye. But to rate that number 1 out of that category, I know, right? Amongst all these others that were there of Woodfords, are you freaking kidding me? Okay, all right. Anyways, there you go.
Boom. What are you drinking? You're drinking right now.
Speaking I am. It's the Nulu Toasted Barrel.
Oh, that sucks.
It's really good. It's It's so depth of flavors, man. It is. I love toasted barrels, and then some toasted barrels. I mean, like Basil Hayden toasted barrel actually is a good price for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Toasted barrels are usually a little more money because they got to store them in a toasted barrel longer, but you usually get. But this one, yeah, you get like marshmallows and stuff out of it. It's like so good.
It's more of to me, they're more of a dessert type thing. They're sweeter.
They can be,
kind of a later evening thing.
But this is a higher octane, so it kind of balances out the higher octane with the sweetness, if you will. Because I would not classify this one as sweet at all.
I don't know if I've had the Nulu before.
Well, come on up.
I'll be up there in a few hours.
You should be. Okay, so what are you drinking?
Well, I just opened a brand new bottle of Knob Creek single barrel reserve 9-year-old bourbon whiskey, and it's pretty damn good. It is 120 proof, so
Wait, is that like a store pick or something?
It is a store pick. I actually got this at Costco. It's
okay.
Like whenever I go to Costco, you got to wander down the aisle because you never know what you're going to find. There could be some really good gems out there, and this one caught my eye. And I love the Knob Creek. They seem to be more of a kind of in your face bourbon. And anyway, the price was really good. And I'm enjoying. I just opened it, so this is my first taste. And it's 120 proof, so it's definitely on the hotter side, but it's got a lot of flavor. It's got some complexity to it, which I enjoy. No smoke. It's just a little bit of a vanilla situation going on there, but it hits you going down. I mean, it's not subtle. Let's say that.
The last couple of years, I've really grown to love Knob Creek. I always thought it was kind of a pedestrian whiskey, but I guess because I've always tasted the lower end ones, but I love their aged and especially their rye. I've got a couple of their aged ryes up there, and oh my God, they are so good. Speaking of Costco, you might want to go to Costco tomorrow and check. I'm going to go to mine tomorrow and check. Eagle Rare bourbon is hitting the shelves there.
Ooh.
The Eagle Rare 10 for $32.49. That is a screaming deal. You can only get one.
I'll swing by after work.
One per membership, but that is a ridiculously good deal on Eagle Rare 10. So, little heads up. Check your Costco's.
Whiskey. Yeah,
check your Costco's.
All right. So that's bourbon talk. What have you been up to otherwise?
Wheeling. Went to Fordyce again. Fordyce Part 2.
It's like your second home.
I'll tell you, it's so nice just being. I mean, I'm literally 3 hours from my doorstep to Meadow Lake now, to the top of Witch Hill 5. It is so nice. So our friends of the podcast from Winnemucca, Battleborn, Nevada, and Utah. I don't know what area Dan's in of Utah. It's near Salt Lake, but not super close. Anyways, they're usually up there or overlap with our trip that we spend a week up there. And I met all of them up there, years ago, and we just, it's fun. You become four-wheeling friends. And so, unfortunately, we missed them the last couple years. And so they didn't align with our trip this year again. And they said, oh, we're going to be up there, right after Labor Day. And I go, well, I think I could make that work. So I went up there and met them, stayed up there for 4 days. And it was great. The weather was a lot warmer this trip for us. We weren't on Windy Point. The wind was a lot better. It was only windy one day, but that's the thing. I mean, Windy Point, it's great, but when it's windy, it's windy. You come in the campground, all those trees block out the wind, and it just barely, we did have some dust devils blow through, but it wasn't anything like the Point.
Were you camped up by the
camp post? Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I'm afraid this is their last year. They're wanting something a little bit more manageable. This has been a tough year for them. Yeah. So I hate to see them go, but I totally get it.
I think it
so
ages
who knows?
people. I mean,
Maybe we'll have nobody up there next year. Maybe I'll be the camp host next year. Who knows? Let's see.
Right.
No, I don't want to clean the toilets.
You could
Maybe I
hire
can get
people.
Lorenzo to do it.
You could hire people.
So I got up there Sunday right after we recorded the podcast last week, and so Robert and Donna, they're from Winnemucca, and they have this cool school bus that they turned into an RV. It's super cool. He did that years ago, but I met him when he had a Suburban that he was wheeling up there, a full-size Suburban, and it had a diesel motor in it. And then he competed in Top Truck Challenge and built this crazy S10 pickup. I gotta say it was in the mid 90s or something when the Top Truck Challenge was going on. I don't know the exact year, but it was Four Wheeler Magazine Top Truck Challenge. It's like the ultimate adventure now. Well, Top Truck Challenge was at Hollister Hills, and our club was invited. Esprit de Four was invited to go to the first Top Truck Challenge to help get them acclimated with the area of Hollister Hills, and where would it be good to do this? Where would it be good to do that? And so I was actually heavily involved with that, and it was super cool looking back on it to see how that event evolved over the years. And they hung out at Area 5 and did all these crazy challenges and stuff. And there's videos. I'm sure it's all on YouTube now and stuff, but it was DVDs back then.
DVDs, but I mean, they did tank trap full of water. They filled it with water, and they actually, I remember
they got the dozer in there and made some crazy holes.
That's right.
And they would pull a water truck full of water up a hill, and
I thought it was a concrete truck, but
yeah, they'd go out to the airport and do a drag race, time trials out there, and I mean it tested your vehicle thoroughly. Of course, Rubicon, section, and it was cool. It was in mud, in the frame twister, and all that stuff. I mean, it was all good stuff. But anyways, Robert competed in that, and this truck has evolved over the years. Like many people that hold on to their four-wheel drives over the years, they just keep evolving. And he just linked and coiled this truck and lowered it because, and I say lowered it, that's not like mean that it's a lowrider, because it was a treehouse before.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so it is badass. And unfortunately, he had a power steering pump go out the first day that I was there. So he had to run up to Reno Summit Sparks and get a new power steering pump, put that in on Monday, and then we were ready to rock on Tuesday, and we ran that trail. So Crazy Dan was there in his S10. I can't even call an S10 anymore because it's just a exo cage, crazy rig.
Hence the name Crazy Dan.
On 43s, yeah. And then Kurt was there. He's from Battleborn, and his wife Wendy, just great people. And he has this, he calls it the turd. He affectionately calls it the turd, but it's this big brown truck, K11 truck, that he flatbedded and did everything to. It's got some monster tires on it. I think they're bigger than 43s, and he hauls that on the back of a Peterbilt flatbed that he got, and then tows his travel trailer behind that. It's super cool. It's called, and the license plate on the Peterbilt is called Turd Hauler. So
I passed a couple of years ago when they were driving in. I was driving out, and I passed them, on Meadow Lake Road, and I stopped, and we chatted for a few minutes with the group before we parted ways, and I headed out and continued my way home, and they were heading in.
Okay.
So, but yeah, no, those rigs are badass. Their tow rigs are badass. Their setups are all badass, and they're just great people.
Yeah, Dan finally upgraded to a Dodge that's unmodified with like 14 turbos or something, like his old Dodge. So yeah, he's got a dually Dodge now with a 11.5-foot camper on the back and then a big ass trailer. And then Lonnie and Sky, they are great. And he's got a 4Runner, but it's really not a 4Runner anymore because it's just a shell. It's been exo caged. It's got a Vortec, V8 under the hood, and of course, one tons underneath. So he was up there too, and man, we had a ball. We went out on the trail and went down to committee, had lunch, played around on the committee hills right there.
Oh, yeah.
And then came up the trail. And unfortunately, Lonnie lost a front drive shaft. I mean, it snapped.
I saw that video.
Yeah, so he snapped. So that wasn't good. So then he was 2-wheel drive coming out. Well, thank God for the turd hauler, or the turd itself, that K11, and actually had Robert in the front of him. So they were tethering Robert in front, the big K11 flatbed pickup, and then towing Lonnie up. Lonnie had 2-wheel drive and steering and everything, you know. So it went pretty quick. We were like 2 hours to get up to Windshield 5. But unfortunately, right at the cistern, I was right behind Lonnie and just following them up, and they get into the cistern right below Windshield 5.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, his rear end started to ratchet.
Oh, that's never a good sound.
Yeah, broke a pinion, broke a ring gear, broke something. We didn't know what, but it wasn't good. It was not going under its own power anymore, assisting. So we're like, okay, now he's dead. He can still steer, and he has brakes, but he cannot assist going up Windshield 5. Yeah, he's dead weight. But those monster trucks pulled him right up Windshield 5, no problem. Dan got involved at the very top and helped yank him over one last obstacle, and then going the rest of the way into Meadow Lake. But unfortunately, like halfway between Windshield 5 and camp at Meadow Lake, his rear end started locking up, just full on locking up.
Oh,
and
perfect.
We're like, oh crap. So we knew there was carnage in the rear diff. So obviously there was some metal getting bound up between the ring gear and the pinion. And sure enough, we got to camp, and the next day we pulled the diff cover off, and a bunch of teeth come out, both from mainly from the ring gear. But there was, at first we could only see like 3 or 4 teeth missing, but then there was like a huge section missing. So it was a ring gear tooth delete.
Was it a 14 bolt or a Dana 60?
It was a 60. Yeah, it was a 60 with a spool. Ah. So, anyways, we made it back to camp, and we actually got Dan behind him to pull him backwards when it started to lock up. So it was a push-pull thing, just pull. Okay, tires are locked. Pull them backwards a couple feet and then go trying to unjam it. And we did that all the way back to camp. So it took like another hour from the top of Windshield 5 back to camp. Wow. And I guess when I arrived there on Sunday, Kurt had just finished fixing his rig. He had a spring break on his, so not too bad. He had a spare spring and put that back together. And so that was the only carnage. We went up and down the trail a couple times, from camp to Windshield 3 or committee and back up. Mm-hmm. It's nice. Never saw another vehicle out there. We saw people come into camp, but we never saw another vehicle out on the trail. I was going to say, we went down in Windshield 3. I got denied again. I just keep getting wedged at the top. It keeps like severely wedging, like you're going to snap axles if you try and hammer through. Mm-hmm. And I hit it right because my rear diff is way on the driver's side, and it just keeps getting hung up on that boulder at the bottom. And Dan made it through. Robert didn't try. He's like, I'm saving my truck for Trail Hero. And I said, I get that. And that's why I gave it like 5 or 6 college tries, and then I backed out. I'm like, I don't want to break anything right now. Kurt made it through.
Oh, good.
I think Lonnie made it through the day before. I'm not sure, but it's a wheelbase game at the very top, and I'm 110, and you really need like 112, a little bit more, so you avoid catching on that diff rock. But I did make the pillow line. I walked the pillow line fine. So there's some redemption there. But anyways, always a good time being up there, and great people. And sadly, the next time I'll be up there, it'll probably be on a snowmobile and snow. I don't think I'm going to make it back up there. Maybe, we'll see. Maybe there'll be a day trip or something, but always good to be back up at Meadow Lake camping.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like God's country up there, really.
It really is. And the weather was so good this time. So, yeah. So, that, and then been working on the camper. I had a gray valve leaking. So, luckily, it's pretty easy to replace on my camper. It's buried in a compartment to winterize to make it a 4-season camper, so it's got this insulated cover that goes around all the gray tank that's hanging off the back. So you got to pull that down, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but once you pull that down, it's easy to get to the gray valve and replace it. Literally 4 bolts and slides out, and you slide a new one in. So I got that done yesterday. So continued camper maintenance, and then getting ready for trail here the first week of August.
October.
So, I'm sorry, October. Yes, we're in August now. First week of October.
It's actually September now.
Well, it is, but the end of September is when we're leaving. Yes. Let's have some more whiskey.
Exactly. Yeehaw. Well, the projects never end, and the fun never ends, and I do have. I tell you what, I was. This is the time of the year for me that I think I've mentioned it on the show before. One of my favorite beers, if not my favorite beer of all time, is Samuel Adams
Oktoberfest.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
My wife and I got married in October because we wanted to be able to provide that beer to our guests at the reception. We had a keg, a full, or whatever, a regular keg of Oktoberfest available for our guests. And since, it's just such a beautifully delicious, satisfying beer. It just always reminds me of fall when I see it on the store shelves. So my son saw it at Safeway a few weeks ago and bought a 12-pack, and I'm like, that's not really enough. I always like to have at least a case or maybe 2. And so on my way home from work last week, I stopped at Total Wine and More, and actually I made the mistake of stopping on Labor Day. So that Monday I popped into the Total Wine and More in Pleasanton, and I'm like, this is probably a stupid thing to do right now, but I went online, and you can check to see if they have stock or inventory, and they did. Right. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop right now and pick some up. So go in the store, and it's not in the normal place. I finally wander around a little bit, and I find it in the middle of an aisle, the seasonal stuff in the middle of the aisle, and it's a special display. So I grab my case, and that's all I want. I did peruse the bourbon aisle real quick.
Yeah, you got to.
Always gotta. And nothing caught my eye.
Nothing standing out, nothing on sale.
No, nothing that really that I don't already have or whatever. So nothing that was just screaming to buy. I had my case of Sam Adams, and I was going to make my way to the front of the store to the cashier to pay and be on my way. So there's 2 cashiers open, I'm like, okay, cool. This will move pretty quick. So I, like you scan to see what the cart contents of the people in front of you look like. You're like, okay, I've got this. No worries. So I line up behind this guy that's got 3 items. He's got something in a brown bag, a bourbon of some sort in a brown bag. Then he's got another bottle of bourbon and a cigar. I'm like, 3 things. That should be super quick, right? Well, I get up. There's a cart in front of him, and then me, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna go quick. Well, this guy his daughter wanders over with a 12-pack of Trulies, and I'm like, and he's like, I'll be right back, and he wanders off, and I'm like, where the fuck you going, bro? And so he's like, I was like, you're not done shopping? Why are you? I didn't say anything. This is going on in my mind. This is my inside voice. If you're not done shopping, don't get in line. But anyway, he wanders off, and he's gone, and finally. They get up to the point where the daughter's unloading the cart onto the conveyor belt to pay, and it's the 4 items now. Well, then the wife and the guy show back up, and they've got 4 cases of beer.
No.
And I'm like, what? This just popped into your head that you needed 4 cases of beer?
So they left. They were checking out, and they left the line, and you're right behind them.
I'm right behind them, and they come back with 4 cases of beer. I'm like, okay, 4 cases. That should be ding, 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 done.
Right?
Nope. Fuck no. Well, they're Filipino.
Oh,
and the Filipinos love their cognac.
Oh, they do. Yes.
So all of a sudden, the guy's talking to the cashier, and she's like, "Oh yes, yes," and she wanders off and brings back 4 bottles of Hennessy.
Oh, got a bottle of Hennessy you got on your shelf, so just let me introduce yourself.
So then she wanders back and grabs 4 more bottles of Hennessy. So now they have 8 bottles of Hennessy.
It's a party.
I'm still waiting in line now. And I'm like, this went from 3 items to fucking 15 or 16 items. Then
You
she
chose
wanders
poorly.
back. She wanders back again and gets two more bottles of Courvoisier.
What are they shopping with the checkout lady?
I don't know what
this is stupid.
And
now
then
it's
I'm
stupid.
like, and then she comes back. Then she wanders away again, comes back with 2 bottles of some sort of tequila. And I'm like,
oh my God.
I finally left the line. I had to go to a different line. I was just like, this is, if you don't have all your shit, don't get in the line, please. This is incredibly rude to the rest of us. That's my rant.
It's one thing if you go, they always ask, did you find everything okay? Yeah, but I was looking for XYZ. Oh, well, we have that. Let me go send somebody to go get it real quick.
Yeah.
But not like 27 items later.
And that's fuck, dude. 8 bottles of freaking Hennessy. I mean, I know the Filipinos love their cognac. They call it yak when it's.
Yeah, it is.
But holy
yak.
Smokes, that's a lot of freaking Hennessy, man.
Oof, duh.
But again, going back to the original point, it's incredibly rude to not finish.
Yes.
I mean, they could have gone to the customer service and got their will call. Maybe is that what that was? I don't even know.
It's their world, and you're just living in it, Chris.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Anyway, I still cashed out and paid and was on my way before they finished up. I think the cashier was still going back and forth and getting more and more bottles.
Unbelievable.
So
oh my gosh,
don't be those people.
Don't be that people. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeehaw.
Oh my gosh. What else? Yeah, just Trail Hero prep. I'm looking. I need to get new tires for the buggy soon. They're going to be perfect for Trail Hero. They're damn near bald, and this is what you want at Trail Hero: super bald stickies. So I know I'll do fine there. And maybe that's why I didn't make the top of windshield 3. I want to think.
No, you need lugs
because I had no lugs. But yeah, I'm definitely going the same tire I have because they just work so freaking well and they're so durable. The TSL, Super Swamper SX stickies.
They're gnarly, man. How much do those things weigh brand new when they're brand new? I don't
know what the weight of them is. They got to be up there, man. They're not a light tire. They're thick. They're hardy, they're sticky, they're aggressive, very aggressive.
Yes.
43, 14, 50, 17s. That's what I'm looking for. So if anybody knows, I'm not going to buy used. I don't want to play the used game again. I want to get new, and I know about Scott Goforth on the old, rock crawler classified and stuff. But if anybody knows of anybody else that has a good price on 4 brand new 43, 14, 5, 17 stickies, let me know, because I am going to be in the market after Trail Hero. It's going to be a tough one, but you got to do it. Got to do it.
I mean, what do you think the price per tire on that is?
They're 1,000, 1,100.
Wow. Hashtag Jason.
I've seen them just below 1,000. I've seen them as low as like 850, but that was a few years ago, so prices have gone up.
Yeah. Well, good luck players. I'm sure the listeners, if anybody has a hookup, let Jason know. Yeah. Slide into his DMs on the Instagram.
Yeah,
let him know, or you can email him, jason@wheelingwinewhiskey.com, or you can leave a voice message at 408-800-5169. What else?
And how do they get a hold of Chris?
Nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody cares.
They do. They want to connect up at Hammers. There's got to be something between now and Hammers that you're going to be on.
I don't know.
Safety clinic?
Nope, can't do it. I've got
third weekend in September.
Previous plans, but I'm starting the grow-in at this driving range.
How about the wedding that's coming up? The undisclosed wedding.
The undisclosed wedding.
Are you going to the undisclosed wedding?
I am.
Oh, okay, great. I'll see you there.
I shall be there. So I'll bring the stickers to you then. You can bring them up.
Okay, perfect.
If you need them. So
that's in a couple weeks.
I did want to do a shout out. I know the Trail Chaser boys are off the air.
Who?
Hopefully not permanently, but it's funny because I know their
they got to be done.
Their
They totally dropped off. I'm going to check their Instagram page right now. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Well, I know that they've checked out, but I'm not sure what's going on in their lives. I'm sure they're busy doing real life stuff. But it's funny because I know that we all know that they're Nissan guys. They love their Nissan Frontiers and their whatever. And obviously Nissan they've always been a little bit slow to renew or update their vehicles, but it's something caught my eye on one of the things I read on the news groups about the new Nissan Armada that just came out with the Pro 4X package on it. And it's funny because they went away from so what's cool about the Armada, first of all, it's a full-size SUV, and they've updated the interior to make it more modern, and that's what a lot of people have complained about, that they're way behind the times. They don't have screens, they don't have, this, that, and the other thing or whatever. But right. This has a Pro 4X, and it comes with, if you get that level, the off-road package, it comes with a rear electric rear locker from the factory, which is pretty cool. And then the other thing they switched over, they're switching like all the other manufacturers. They're getting rid of the V8s and going to the twin turbo V6 engines for their premium top tier power plant. Okay. Ford's doing that. And, of course, Toyota switched over to a V6 or 4-cylinder turbos, depending on what vehicle you get. Sure. I know that Dodge and Ram, and Jeep, they're going with this Hurricane straight 6 twin turbo, or I don't know if it's twin or turbo, single turbo. I don't know, but it's interesting. The V8s are kind of going the way of the dodo bird. And a lot of these smaller displacement turbocharged engines are kind of taking the lead. But anyway, I just wondered if the Trail Chaser boys are listening and if they could chime in. Maybe they're not. Do an IG, do a DM to Jason or me.
Their last post was February 2nd on Instagram.
February 2nd of this. Holy crap! 2nd. That's like 8 months ago. This is 7 months ago. On December 7th of 23, they said we're taking a break. We're taking a break. Well, that's quite a break, man. I want a break like that. We've taken a break, but it's been like 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, we're thinking about you guys, and hopefully everybody's doing okay. Update us.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a call. I'm gonna give them a call. I got all their numbers. We if nothing else, if they're totally done, they've hung it up. Then what we need to do is get them back on the mics for a shit show podcast.
King of the Hammers.
Oh, they won't come to our camp. We'd have to go out to like a special
space. Our campground is a safe space.
But getting there is not. And it terrifies them.
We can drive down and meet them and escort them in with like armed guards
with a row of buggies around them. Like, hey, they're one of us. It's okay.
It'd be like something out of Mad Max,
Maybe we like, how people have been like making their rock crawlers look like Tesla trucks with cardboard. Maybe we can make. Maybe we can make their Nissans look like something. Although Cody had the Ford Ranger, the Ford fucking Ranger, so that's right. That's cool. I don't know. We'll have to see. I do need to reach out to them.
Reach out. See if we can get them to KOH. I mean, they made it. They made it one time to the shit show up at, and our camp is much safer and more secure. We have security roving, and we have an electrified fence and a guard shack and the whole deal, man.
Well, and Lorenzo's out front too, so he ain't letting anybody in. Well, he could be bribed pretty easily.
He's all armed up with his bandoliers and shit, and he's freaking carrying a freaking Barrett 50.
His bandoliers, yes. Oh my gosh, that is classic.
Oh shit! All right. What else?
You got anything else? I got nothing else. I gotta go work on stuff for Trail Hero.
So you can get a hold of Chris at wheelingwinewhiskey.com is my email address, and of course, don't forget about our website wheelingwinewhiskey.com. And I'm not sure what else. This just kind of got a little off the rails because
408-800-5169. Give us a call. Leave a voicemail. We like the voicemails every time. And go check out iRate 4x4. Again, iRate 4x4.
That's
right. Great stuff. And we would appreciate if you want to throw us a few dollars out of your wallet here.
Helps.
I know a lot of people. A lot of people are. The next couple months are going to find whether people are going to open up their wallets or not. We'll see. So
Yes.
Scary times. Scary times.
I know, right?
All right. Well, that's all I got. And with that,
that's all I've got too. And we're out.